Yeah, I mean, it's been so fun, like, putting this group together. Like, obviously, once we get into the real heat of battle, like, that's where, those relationships are really going to show, of like how we stick together. And, there's gonna be highs, there's gonna be lows, but so far, like, it's just been amazing.
What happens when a WNBA game turns into WWE level body slams, with Caitlyn Clark stepping in as peacemaker? Just another wild day for Sophie Cunningham, who took a hit so hard even the referees needed therapy. But Caitlyn Clark didn't just stay back. She showed up like the ultimate teammate. And when Sophie said she's ready to fight for her team, this game was basically her audition for Fast and Furious 11 Elbow Edition. It was chaos, courage, and teamwork all rolled into one unforgettable showdown.
Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor.
Washington Mystics turned the court into a chaos-filled scene, like a group project where everyone's plan is to play dirty and hope for fouls. On this unforgettable day in basketball history, they swapped basketballs for brass knuckles, thinking no one would catch on. But everyone saw through the antics, especially Sophie Cunningham, who had to body check her way out like she was in a WWE crossover. It was a wild, intense showdown that no one would forget.
I don't think the Fever should be allowed to just be hit and thrown to the ground or any of those things. She meant to shove her. There's no question. It was a non-basketball play, okay? That is clear. It was not within the realm of basketball. It was a shove. She was frustrated. She was upset. Or in the moment.
And right in the middle of all that chaos, who was there showing unwavering support? Caitlyn Clark. Basketball's newest queen of calm, a highlight reel with ice in her veins. Stood solidly by Sophie Cunningham, she wasn't just cheering from the sidelines or mouthing words of encouragement. She was fully engaged, demonstrating what true teammate support looks like. Clark's presence radiated confidence and loyalty, proving she's got her teammates' backs no matter how wild the game gets. But before we get lost in this soap opera of drama, let's rewind. Because this wasn't just any game. It was a headline-making showdown filled with intensity and unforgettable moments.
People that have been in the league 5 years, people that have been in the league, 10 plus years, and having that balance, I think, is really going to help us. And especially like having won and been around a lot of really good players, and she uses her voice a lot, but everybody really listens to her. So yeah, I think it's the perfect combo of people, and everybody's just really selfless.
The Mystics entered this game like they were starring in a low-budget Gladiator remake, complete with fake blood and even faker tactics. Passes seemed optional, and elbows flew with Olympic-level precision, as if safety protocols didn't exist. Sportsmanship? That was left at the airport, along with their luggage and dignity. It felt less like a basketball game and more like a street brawl with a scoreboard. Every time the referee blinked, a new minor scuffle erupted. You'd think they were fighting over the last slice of pizza at a family gathering, not fighting for playoff seeding. The chaos was relentless, and somehow they thrived in this wild, destructive environment.
One might want to show the Fever a little something. But at the same time, that's not that out of the ordinary for my basketball watching life or even playing life, where people fight for possession, somebody shoves the other person, and that's it. As long as the game is called appropriately and it doesn't get out of hand. Same thing with the Iriafen Cunningham thing. They're fighting for the ball. Iriafen loses it a bit, throws her to the floor. She got called for the foul. It is what it is. Then you move on. So I just didn't see this as like some sort of bounty targeting. And that's what I mean by the egregious, I guess is a better word. Did she mean to shove her? Absolutely. Okay, guys? Absolutely meant to shove her. You can think of that what you want. You can process that what you want. I understand.
Sophie Cunningham, who seems to double as a linebacker when she's not sinking corner threes, found herself right in the middle of a friendly scrap that looked more like an audition for Survivor, Elbow Island. The Mystics threw fouls from every direction. Arms, shoulders, even dreams and regrets, you name it. They were practically inventing new ways to foul. At one point, it seemed like the referees were handing out fouls like Oprah giving away cars. You get a foul, you get a foul, everyone gets a foul. The chaos on the court was relentless, turning what should have been a game into a wild free-for-all.
We got to get some props to Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham. Man, she is stunning to look at, but her game was stunning tonight. She was balling out.
Meanwhile, Cunningham, clearly fighting for her survival, was dodging elbows like a nightclub bouncer sidestepping trouble. If she weren't a basketball player, she could easily jump into a WWE match and blend right in with all the body slams and suplexes happening on the court. Then, out of nowhere, the moment arrived. Sophie gets tangled up with two Mystics players who suddenly forget about the ball and instead focus on trying to fold her up like a lawn chair. And the referees? Probably busy trying to spell flagrant while staring blankly at the Jumbotron, unsure of how to handle the chaos unfolding before them.
Back on the floor, and we don't want to see her targeted. I mean, that's weird. Sophie Cunningham says we have a target on our back. What she means by that to me isn't just like somebody's coming to physically hit me, but it's both. It's we're the team that we're saying now, we're the team everybody's talking about. We're the team other teams want to prove something against. Sometimes that can go a little bit too far. Obviously, you don't want to see that happen with Caitlyn Clark, but that's the overarching point where you've got vets there. You've got tough players there who aren't going to allow that to happen.
Caitlyn Clark, ever the dependable teammate, quickly rushes over, not with fists, since this isn't hockey, but with a calmness that's even more powerful. Grace and composure. You can almost hear her internal monologue. Seriously, is this what you call defense? Her eyes meet Sophie's with a look that says, I've got your back. It's the same expression you give a friend at brunch when someone insults her outfit, ready to deliver a sharp verbal comeback. Post-game, Caitlyn, always media ready, delivers a composed statement supporting Sophie, with an attitude that clearly says, next game I'll drop 40 points on you if you test me. Although she didn't explicitly say she watched Sophie get mauled like a clearance rack cardigan at a Black Friday sale, her energy spoke volumes. But before anyone cries unintentional contact, let's check the record. Sophie Cunningham isn't new to the WNBA octagon. She's openly stated, multiple times in interviews, that she lives for contact, thrives in chaos, and loves a good fight. She said she's here to go to war for her team, and on this day, the Mystics clearly picked the wrong player to test that policy. Her reputation as a fierce competitor precedes her. So while the chaos was intense, it's all part of what makes Sophie Cunningham a player who's unafraid to bring the fight. And she's proven she can handle it.
Yeah, it's just kind of who I am. I want to pour into my team as much as possible, and I'm pretty in tune with my body. I can read a room pretty well, and so when I see we're lacking a little bit, you got to step up. But if we're good, you're just there to encourage and give people confidence.
Now let's flash back to a classic Sophie moment, circa not today, Sika, where she's grinning like a cat in a canary cage, saying, "You want to play physical? Cool, let's dance." Translated from competitive athlete to sarcastic, that means, I'll send you flying into next week and make it look accidental. Yes, the Mystics may have started it, but Sophie didn't exactly respond with an apology or hesitation. If you're wondering, was this game dirty? Let's be honest. It was more like a demolition derby in jerseys. Every time the Mystics advanced, it looked like they were playing full connect dodgeball with invisible balls. Screens became shoves, drives resembled landmine simulations. There was more pushing in the paint than at a clearance shoe sale. Chaotic, aggressive, and utterly unapologetic.
Okay, listen, Carver Hawkeye is one of the best environments I've ever been in, let's be honest. But watching Caitlyn Clark just show her team how good Carver can be was amazing. The environment was insane. But, besides the 36-foot shot she made, which I do have a clip of that, I'll post it, it's amazing, obviously. Broke her own dang record and looked so smooth.
Sophie, who clearly arrived at the arena with a target on her back, responded in the only way she knows how, with righteous indignation and just enough sass to make her fouls seem almost noble. She was the only player willing to send the message through her body language. You want this smoke? The highlight of her response, however, wasn't the shoving or the physicality. It was her reaction after the Mystics tried to ambush her like they were auditioning for the Real Housewives of Elbow County. She didn't flop. She didn't break down in tears. Instead, she stood her ground, smirked, and exuded serious, I'll pray for you energy. It was the look of someone who knew she had just rattled their entire game plan, and probably their chiropractor too. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark maintained her composure, embodying her signature calm. She could have gone scorched earth in the post-game interview, but instead she played it cool, full diplomatic assassin mode. Her support for Sophie wasn't loud or boastful. It was laser-focused, like a sniper's compliment that also subtly drags. We got each other's back. In other words, we saw your dirty play, and honestly, you're not even good at it.
They are already now attacking Sophie Cunningham. Oh, they're mad. The MAGA Barbies got them angry. They're cheering on violence against this basketball player. Sophie Cunningham just got through by a rookie. And here we go.
Shot too strong there from Olsen. Cunningham pulls down and here's that feistiness.
There you go.
She is fierce in the game. And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlyn Clark wouldn't play until right before. But this is a preseason game where Clark is not available.
Meanwhile, the Mystics continued to redefine defense as aggressively misinterpreting the rules. Their approach was less about strategy and more about running into opponents and hoping the whistle was broken. Honestly, it looked like their coach handed them a playbook titled WWE SmackDown Basketball Edition. And the referees, bless their hearts, they saw nothing. If there had been any more missed calls, we might have needed to file a missing persons report for the rulebook. But don't get it twisted. Sophie wasn't out there for sympathy. She was playing for metaphorical blood. Maybe even a little literal. Still, she held her ground with unshakable composure. Not once did she give the Mystics the satisfaction of rattling her. Instead, she delivered something even more frustrating. A calm, unwavering presence that made her opponent's efforts seem futile. And you can't talk about Sophie without mentioning her greatest moments. Those legendary interviews where she plainly states, "I don't start fights, but I definitely finish them," cementing her reputation as both fierce and unyielding.
Enter Sophie Cunningham. She was the lead scorer of the entire game for both teams.
Whether it's post-game press conferences or mic'd-up moments where she casually threatens to out-hustle everyone in the arena, Sophie has been crystal clear. You don't get to push her around and expect a thank you note. Cue another clip of Sophie mid-interview, smiling confidently as she says, "Physicality doesn't bother me. It fuels me." That quote alone makes you wonder if her spirit animal is a charging bull. She lives for the scrap, the chaos, the hustle. She's the enforcer, the player who thrives in the heat of the moment. If there's a scuffle or a bump, you can bet Sophie's right there in the middle, looking like she's having the time of her life. Let's give credit where it's due. The Mystics managed to turn a standard WNBA game into what felt like an off-gram action movie. But the problem is, they forgot they weren't the heroes. Because Sophie didn't just survive their on-current shenanigans, she dominated them. She emerged from the chaos like a queen walking through a mosh pit in heels, untouched, unbothered, and unrelenting. And the fans? Oh, they noticed. Social media erupted like a microwave burrito. Casual viewers and die-hard WNBA fans alike flooded timelines with questions like, did the Mystics mistake Sophie for a tackling dummy? And Caitlyn Clark looks ready to call her lawyer. The memes? Top tier. The slow-motion replays? Oscar-worthy.
And I gotta say, it is so evident when Caitlyn Clark is not on the court for the Indiana Fever. She is such a floor general. She is the X factor for the Indiana Fever. She leads the way when they don't have her. I've said this before, but the Indiana Fever look like a train.
Somewhere between the third elbow and the fifth missed call, the Mystics had to realize that Sophie isn't just a player. She's a whole vibe. And you can't knock a vibe off balance when that vibe is also capable of taking you down and draining a three-point over your head. Let's also talk about the sheer audacity of the Mystics' post-game comments. If smugness were a stat, they'd be MVPs. Not a hint of accountability, just vague nods to physicality and competitive spirit, which is basically code for we fouled and got exposed. Meanwhile, Sophie is just over there casually tying her shoe. Like, is that all you've got? Here's what's coming next. The next time the Mystics face Sophie and Caitlyn, they'll need more than just body checks and bad intentions. They've got to bring something other than, we're gonna rough you up. Because this isn't just another game anymore. It's officially personal. Sophie's got the receipts. Literally all of them. Not just some casual screenshot of an awkward text exchange. Caitlyn, she's got the range, both on the court and in the smack talk department. And let's just say, the Mystics aren't going to know what hit them.
Here we go. Need Kiki to whack her again. Guys, it's where we're at. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right there, you can see Sophie telling her after that flagrant, you don't mother effing do that. You don't mother effing do that.
And the best part? The fans are completely locked in. Every play, every dribble, every wild off-the-backboard shot is being scrutinized with laser focus. They're not just watching, they're eagerly awaiting the next jaw-dropping moment. The popcorn is flying. Team Sophie banners are waving high, and there's probably a medical team on standby. Because let's be honest, these games have turned into full-contact battles. This isn't just basketball anymore, this is Fight Club. The District Edition. The next time the Mystics step onto the court against Sophie and Caitlyn, they'll need more than just body checks and trash talk. They'll have to bring real game, because Sophie and Caitlyn are coming in hot, and they're not here to play nice. In the grand tradition of try me and see what happens, the Mystics thought they could handle the heat. Instead, rather than intimidating the dynamic duo, they looked like they were trying to sell a magic trick that fell flat. It's like a dance-off where one team confidently takes the stage, only to realize halfway through that they've forgotten all the moves.
Spicy Sophie Cunningham, you could call her, because she was out there. She was feisty. She was fiery and all that. Huge target on our backs. Obviously, the Fever, the most hyped team, the most talked about team, and now a team that has some protection within, right? Some support within, some toughness within, which bodes well for once Caitlyn Clark is back on the floor, because you're now surrounding her with the talent. Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston were there before, but the toughness as well.
Instead of gracefully recovering from mistakes, they start shoving each other, bumping into everyone in sight, and making a complete spectacle of themselves. That pretty much sums up the Mystics. They didn't just lose. They got exposed for not even mastering the basics. It's like they arrived at a show in costume but forgot to rehearse. Now, instead of appearing as the intimidating force they envisioned, they look like the awkward girl group that can't remember which way to face. They gave it an effort, but unfortunately, trying isn't always enough when facing the real deal. Next time someone wants to bring the heat, they'd better be prepared for the flames. Sophie Cunningham isn't just sitting back and letting the fire come to her. No, she's firing right back with both barrels blazing. She's not just defending herself, she's drawing a line in the sand, setting the tone for what happens when someone tests her limits. The Mystics may have thought they could handle the challenge, but they found out the hard way that when Sophie gets fired up, there's no stopping her.
Talk about the crazy moment that happened within this really good game. Kiki Arafin getting a flagrant foul, and then also Brittany Sykes getting a flagrant foul, all on the same.
And Caitlyn Clark? Well, she's the perfect silent partner. She doesn't need to make a grand show. She's quietly backing Sophie up like an elite assassin. Think of her as a sniper lurking from a distance with impeccable aim, waiting for the right moment to strike. Her pinpoint jump shot says it all. Mess around and find out. You can't step to Sophie without feeling the heat. And Caitlyn's got the proof to back it up. They're not just playing. They're setting the standard. If you want a glimpse of what happens when you challenge them, just watch the highlight reel. It'll leave you questioning why you ever thought it was a good idea to test these two. When they're on, they're unstoppable, and the scoreboard shows exactly why. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.